All right. Hey, listen. Good morning. Audio wasn't working there for a second, but I'm back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It's a bit rainy here, still in Montreal, but that's fall for you. I had an awesome weekend. A lot of time hanging out with the fam, and then I was on Saturday night with the boys playing a little Call of Duty, which was hella fun. Again, we sucked, but whatever. Listen. The great news is right before I got on, some new merch arrived at my house, and it's super dope. Here is the desk mat. And it is like very, very thick, which is gonna be awesome to put underneath your mouse or keyboard or whatnot. And so I'm gonna be doing in a bit. But what I'm super stoked about are the notepads that came. We got the Beckett notepad, just killing it, and on the back you got the there you go Pathological Ink logo, and inside this one I got with no lines, so it's just pure blank. It's like the perfect size though, because you can throw this pretty much anywhere. Maybe not in your pocket, but pretty much anywhere. Small bag, whatever. Take your notes right beside your bed. I was saying this before. I know a lot of writers like to write some shit down as soon as they wake up, ideas they might have gotten while they were sleeping or their dreams or whatnot. And then this book here, which is You Love the Chase. Same thing on the back. Just fucking super clean, super neat. And then it's got the lined sheets inside. Um, yeah, it's funny thing about dreams. Like, you have a dream and you think it's, oh my god, that was so intense. That was a great story. I'm gonna try to write that down. And you start writing it down. And you're like, what the hell is this? This makes no sense at all. So I don't usually do that. I get some ideas when I'm about to fall asleep, but that's usually when I'm more, cogent than when I'm actually asleep. How are your guys' weekend? Remember, smash that like button. Do me a solid. Helps pump the stream out to more Thrilligans who are not aware that I'm live. Um, Today's a bit of a weird day. The kids are home from school. They had PED days, which for us are days off for teachers to do their planning or whatever. And literally, they have 100 this month. So that's why I'm a bit late this morning. But I'm here. I pretty much know exactly where Adverse Effects is going to go. Like, I had a general idea when I started the book, but it came to me over the last few days. I was just thinking about it more, so I know exactly where it's going to go. And to be honest with you, I get these urges to write. I got to sit down and put everything down, and sometimes I just need to pull back. And because I'm doing this with you guys live, I didn't do any writing off camera, at least not for this book. So I've just been waiting for this morning to get some more words down. If you guys remember, from oh, it's a bit high. Just the mic. from last week on Friday, we killed it. We're about the 40,000 mark, 40,000 word mark. We had, I guess, what I was hoping to do and to work it in is I wanted to get Tommy into this kind of world, and I managed that. So, Chase was looking for the cell phone of the girl who committed suicide by slitting her wrists, and she went to the home. And the parents were very distraught, and they said they don't know where the cell phone is. But she's determined to find it. So Chase started looking for it, couldn't find it, but the room had been cleaned up. So she's convinced that someone must have taken the cell phone, and now she thinks that it's Tommy Wild and his cleanup crew. So we're going to explore that a little more, and then we're going to work our way towards some sort of a revelation when it comes to what is actually happening to these girls and why they're committing suicide and why the FBI needs to be called in. I think we got a little taste of that, a little idea. We just don't want more of these kids to commit suicide. As usual, we're going to get started. We're going to start a little slow, and then hopefully we can pick up the pace a little bit. Today's going to be a big day, guys. I'm hoping to put a lot of words on the page, get this story really moving into the third part, the final third of the book, and then hopefully have something together in time for the end of the month. But I'm hopeful. Oh, about the title of this stream, it's from a song. I don't know what song it is. It's always on the radio. But I just love that. I actually had some ideas to write a story where the opening line is, if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? And I thought that would be a really cool way to open the story. And then the world essentially ends, and you move from there. I think that's probably not kosher, though. It's copyrighted or something. Still, I get these ideas sometimes just from a single phrase or single word or idea, or like from a song, for instance, or from a movie. I digress. Chapter 31, new paragraph. Open quote. Chase, question mark. You on your way? Question mark. Chase, question mark. Are you on your way? Question mark. Close quote. Dot bar asked. Period. New paragraph. Chase looked to the phone that was on the dash, comma. Chase's eyes drifted from the road to the phone that was on the dash. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. No, comma. There's something I need to take care of first. Period. What's up? Question mark. What was this deal with the hair? Question mark. Close quote. New paragraph. Open quote. I'm gonna have to tell you when you get here, comma. How'd it go with the Derringers? Question mark. Close quote. New paragraph. The car in front of Chase suddenly braked, comma, and Chase swore as she had to swerve to the left to avoid rear-ending them. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. Still cursing, comma, she passed the vehicle, giving a glaring look at the driver. an elderly man with a hat pulled so low over his oversized glasses that it was no wonder he couldn't see, period to paragraph, open quote. Couldn't find the cell phone, comma, close quote, Floyd offered from the passenger seat, period, open quote. The parents don't know, M dash, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. Hey Dunbar, comma, what do you know about wild cleanup, question mark, wild with an E, question mark, close quote, new paragraph. There was a short pause, comma, and at first Chase expected the man to return with the comment that he had no idea what she was talking about, period to paragraph. But when he answered the way he did, comma, Chase knew that there was some sort of history here, period to paragraph, open quote. Largest cleanup crew in Manhattan, period. Struck a deal with the DA to get first dibs on all crime scene cleanup gigs, period. Close quote, new paragraph. Chase's brow furrowed, period, new paragraph. She wasn't knowledgeable about the whole business of cleaning up a crime scene. She wasn't at all knowledgeable about the business of cleaning up crime scenes, comma, but judging by how much crime was taking place these days, she expected it to be fairly lucrative, period to paragraph. But an exclusive contract seemed a little bit of an anomaly, comma, a monopoly in the formation, period to paragraph, open quote. Run by a guy named Tommy Wild, comma, close quote, Dunbar continued, period. Open quote. Got into a little trouble a while back, comma. Something to do with as he was under suspicion for having to do with a couple cops who got killed, period. Was eventually cleared of that and struck a deal with the DA to get exclusive rights to every cleanup job that the NYPD sends out, period, close quote, in the paragraph. Now, Chase's eyebrows did the opposite of furling, semicolon. They raised up her forehead, and she glanced over at Floyd, who looked back at her and shrugged, period, in the paragraph. This did seem like an odd relationship, period. First, comma, charged with the murder of a police officer, comma, then somehow gaining all business from the NYPD, period, to paragraph. Chase let this marinate for a few moments, period, to paragraph. Open quote. What about ever since then? Question mark. This Tommy guy have a clean record? Question mark. Close quote. To paragraph. Open quote. Sparkling. Period. All of his work has been spot on, comma. In fact, comma, we get a couple calls every day from some of the clients thanking us of all people, period. Close quote in the paragraph. Open quote. Noted, period, close quote in the paragraph. Open quote. Are you on your way here? Question mark, close quote, Dunbar asked, comma, shifting the subject, period, to paragraph, open quote. No, comma, I gotta make a stop first, period. I should be there in a little while, though, period, close quote, in the paragraph, open quote. Chase, comma, you're not thinking about visiting Tommy Wild, comma, are you? Question mark. Because I gotta let you know that him and the DA seem to be M dash close quote in the paragraph, open quote. Thanks for the heads up, comma, close quote, Chase said, comma, cutting the man off, period. She reached out and hung up the cell phone before Dunbar could protest even further, period, in the paragraph. She put her eyes back on the road, comma, and was aware that Floyd was looking at her, but decided not to address the man, period, to paragraph. It was clear that he wasn't used to her tactics, comma, or had forgotten about how she was, period, to paragraph. Either that, or she was even more curt than usual, period of paragraph. She supposed that, like most things, it was probably right down the middle, period of paragraph. Open quote. You really think that this Tommy Wild guy stole a cell phone? Question mark, close quote, new paragraph. Open quote, no, comma, close quote. Chase said, honestly, period. It wouldn't make sense for someone like Tommy Wild, who had an exclusive contract with the NYPD, to risk everything for a simple cell phone, period, of paragraph. But she knew that an operation of this magnitude would include various characters, comma, some of which were less scrupulous than others, period, of paragraph. Open quote, this is it? Question mark, close quote, Chase asked, mostly to herself, period, of paragraph. As she pulled up outside of a large pulled into the parking lot of a large high-rise building, period. The building itself, if the sign out front could be trusted, comma, was home to more than half a dozen businesses, comma, including a dentist and a veterinary clinic, comma, as well as a alcohol distribution company, period. But by far the largest sign was the one at the very top, the one that read, colon, wild cleanup, period, to paragraph, open quote. I guess it is.
Thrillogan Love donated $5. You are the best.
Open quote. I guess it is, comma, close quote. She muttered, period, to paragraph. Chase parked out front in the restricted zone, comma, and immediately hopped out of her car, period, to paragraph. Floyd followed, comma, but his steps were movements were almost labored, comma, as if he was averse to what she was doing, period, to paragraph. Chase walked over to the front panel and searched for the large button. Chase walked over to the box by the front door and pressed the large button beside the wild cleanup name, period, to paragraph. It buzzed several times, and while she was waiting, comma, Floyd leaned in close and whispered in her ear, period, to paragraph. Open quote. What's the play here, comma, Chase? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Chase was about to answer when a voice on the intercom suddenly spoke up, period, into paragraph, open quote. Wild cleanup, comma, how may I help you? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. The voice belonged to a pleasant-sounding woman whom Chase assumed. The voice belonged to a pleasant-sounding woman, period, to paragraph, open quote. Yes, comma, my name is Chase Adams, and I'm here to see Tommy Wild, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Do you have an appointment? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Open quote. No appointment, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Then I'm sorry, comma, but Mr. Wild is M dash, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. But I do have a badge, period, close quote, into paragraph. There was a short pause, period, to paragraph, open quote. If you are with the NYPD, comma, then I suggest you, M dash, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. I'm not with the NYPD, period. I'm with the FBI, period, close quote, into paragraph. The pause that ensued now was longer than the first one, period, into paragraph, open quote, which suggested to Chase that the woman had actually left her post at whatever front desk she was manning to either contact Tommy Wilde or one of his assistants, period. Because when she returned, comma, the answer was much different than the first one that the secretary had offered, period, to paragraph, open quote. All right, comma, Miss Adams, period. I'm going to buzz you in, period. Close quote in the paragraph. Chase smiled a little bit and leaned back, period, to paragraph, open quote. I thought you would, comma, close quote, she said, period, open quote. I thought you would, period, close quote. Morning, Lisa. How you doing? Thanks for joining. JL, thank you for the follow. Thrilligan Love, thank you so much for the donation. I am the best. Much appreciated. Okay, so we're getting to that point where, I love to do these things where I'm adding little tidbits, a little rounding out of Tommy's character and kind of where he went. Another week begins. What's up, Andy? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, another week. And so I love rounding out his character in other books, right? So we get to see a little bit, we get a little like Easter egg of what happened to Tommy after he, the multiple debacles that he had to endure. And now he's gotten to a point where he has an exclusive contract. So that's something that'll come up in 3 Wild Months, due out the end of the month. And now she's going to actually speak to him, which would be kind of cool to get Chase's impression. Oh, thank you for the share, Ashley. Much obliged. Take a little break now, chat with you guys. How was everyone's weekend? All right. Double share. I like it. Like I was saying earlier in the stream, the weather was actually very nice this weekend. It was about 16 degrees Celsius, no rain. It was supposed to rain all weekend. It laid off for Saturday when I went golfing, which was great. And then yesterday was another beautiful day. A little on the chilly side. I think this whole week is going to be rainy, which is kind of shit because that means I'm going to try to force myself to go on a run now that the gyms are closed. But, when it's rainy, that's another excuse not to do it. The plan this week actually is to finish all of Adverse Effects. Finish it. I got to check on the deadline. I don't know when it's actually due. It might be due in a couple days, in which case I'll probably push it back by a week or so. But things are going well. I love where the story's going. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I guess I'm about halfway done. Like I said to you guys multiple times, this story is going to be like in 2 parts, really. Despite the 3 parts that you see on screen, you're going to have the first part is this dealing with these girls who committed suicide, and there's going to be kind of a larger plot twist to that I'm working up to. And I think editing-wise, I'm going to really, really push to get 3 Wild Months out this week. I know a lot of people have been asking me. It's done. I just have to crush the edits, get it off to my team, and get it published. You guys are going to love it. It's about twice as long as the other 2 books. I know I've told you guys this before. My goal, though, with the Tommy, with the Wild books was twofold. One is I really wanted to write short, punchy books. I tried to avoid as much internal dialogue as I could. I wanted to make it more like a TV show. I have some internal thoughts in there, but I keep that to a minimum. And I also wanted them to be short, punchy, and then end on a cliffhanger, like a really juicy cliffhanger. And so far, I've done that with the first 2. And the third one, the story is getting so big that I had to really make it about twice as long. The first 2 books were about 55,000 words, and then the third book is, I think, 90-ish. I don't know how much. I usually trim about 10% of the book during the editing phase, so it'll probably be around 80,000 when it's done. But you guys are going to love it. Vanessa, thanks for joining, and thank you very much for the like. Hey, missing something here. Huh. I was checking out my thing. I thought I had Top donor. Never mind. All right, guys. I'm gonna get back at it. I'm gonna write this scene. I've been looking forward to this scene when Chase finally meets Tommy to get her impressions about him. I don't know what to do. Like, I love Tommy, right? So, but Chase obviously has such a strong personality, and she has this way of seeing into people, let's say, for lack of a better term. So I'm gonna have to maybe play a little bit here. I don't want Chase not to like him, but I want her to know that there's something a bit off about him. The third coffee of the day, by the way. I'm getting jittery. All right. Another week. Yeah, Andy. It's another week, but it's going to be a good week. Chapter 32, new paragraph. Chase took the elevator up to the 12th floor of the high-rise apartment building, comma, and then exited, comma, with Floyd following up on her heels, period to paragraph. The foyer opened up into a large glass-covered entrance to wild cleanup, period to paragraph. Half of the glass door was transparent, but the flanking wall was opaque, period to paragraph. Chase made it as far as to reach for the handle before it opened from the inside, period to paragraph. Open quote. Welcome, comma, Mrs. Adams, comma, close quote, the woman said, period to paragraph. She was taller than Chase, comma, but only by a few inches, comma, with brown hair that was tucked behind her ears, period. As Chase suspected from listening to her voice over the intercom downstairs, comma, the girl was young, comma, possibly in her mid-20s or even younger. Period. She was dressed in a charcoal gray pantsuit. With a white blouse beneath, period to paragraph. Open quote. Please, comma, it's just Chase, comma, close quote. Chase said, period to paragraph, open quote. Okay, Chase, comma. Please follow me. Period, close quote, in a paragraph. The woman didn't even ask for identification or introduce herself to Floyd, comma, both of which were a little disconcerting for Chase, period to paragraph. She even suspected that they would be invited to sit down on one of the comfortable-looking chairs in the lobby, comma, and wait, period. This was often a tactic that people in power liked to employ when others came to visit, period. Something to set the stage, comma, as petty as it sounded, comma, it often worked, period to paragraph. But not this time, period to paragraph. To her surprise, comma, Chase and Floyd were led down a large hallway, taken to an office that was tucked in the corner of the 12th floor, period. Like the entrance to Wild Cleanup, comma, this one too was covered in glass, comma, only it was completely frosted, period to paragraph. The secretary knocked once, comma, and then without waiting for an answer, opened the door. opened the door and leaned in, period to paragraph, open quote. Tommy, question mark. Mrs. M dash Chase from the FBI is here to see you, period, close quote, to paragraph, open quote. Right, comma. Come on in, comma, close quote. A man said from behind the glass, followed by what sounded like him rising to his feet, period to paragraph. The secretary looked over at Chase and smiled, comma. Then she held the door open for her, period to paragraph. Chase passed in. The woman and then stepped into a rather pedestrian office, period to paragraph. She'd expected something grand, comma. One of those large, exotic wood desks behind which was a supple leather chair, comma. In the chair, comma, she suspected to find a man with stark white hair and a crisp pinstripe suit, period to paragraph. She was surprised that neither of her assumptions were true, period to paragraph. The desk was fairly plain, comma, and the chair, while it looked comfortable, comma, looked to be made of some sort of fabric and not leather, period to paragraph. What was most striking, comma, was the fact that the man behind the desk, comma, the Tommy Wild behind Wild Cleanup, comma, didn't have white hair, period to paragraph, and he wasn't wearing a pinstripe suit, period to paragraph. Instead, comma, she was greeted by a young, comma, good-looking man with short brown hair and a stubble on his cheeks and chin that was meant to look like he'd simply misshaven for a few days, comma, but Chase was certain that this was by design, period to paragraph. Instead of a suit, comma, he was wearing a plain black t-shirt and had a leather jacket thrown over the back of the chair, period to paragraph. He was also younger than Chase suspected, comma. Chase had assumed, comma, and she put him in his mid to late 30s, period to paragraph. Chase reached out and shook the man's hand, period to paragraph. This often, comma, like having someone wait in the foyer. This was often a power play, comma, as well, comma, much like when someone asked you to wait in the waiting room even though they were simply biding their time, period to paragraph. But Tommy's handshake, comma, while not limp, comma, was simple and gentle, period to paragraph. Open quote. Tommy Wild, comma, close quote, he said as way of introduction, period to paragraph, open quote. Chase Adams, comma, close quote, Chase said quickly, comma, taking a seat before the man instructed him to do so, period, open quote. And this is my partner, Floyd Montgomery, period, close quote. Chase, comma, and not Tommy, comma, indicated for Floyd to take the seat beside her, period to paragraph. The man did, comma, offering just a subtle nod towards Tommy, period to paragraph, open quote. After the two of them were seated, comma, Tommy sat in his own chair, period to paragraph. Open quote. What can I do for you, comma, Chase, question mark? What can I do for the FBI, question mark, close quote, in a paragraph. Even though the man's eyes were soft and his expression neutral, comma, it was clear that he was probing her, comma, trying to ascertain why she was here, period to paragraph. Open quote. I'm here about a particular scene that you cleaned up, comma, close quote. Chase stated, comma, choosing her words carefully, period, new paragraph, open quote. Well, comma, Chase, comma, you're going to have to be more specific, period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase eyed the man, comma, trying to ascertain whether he knew exactly what she was talking about, period, new paragraph. She came to the conclusion that he did not, period, new paragraph, open quote. Sky Derringer, comma, close quote, she said, period, new paragraph. The inner corners of Tommy Wilde's eyebrows lifted only a little, comma, confirming that he had that knew what she was referring to, period, new paragraph. Who? Open quote. The girl who committed suicide, comma, close quote, he said matter-of-factly, period, open quote. The parents wanted that scene cleaned up as quickly as possible, comma, called us the moment that the NYPD left their home, period, close quote, in a paragraph, open quote. Is that normal? Question mark, close quote. New paragraph. Tommy shrugged, period, new paragraph, open quote. In my line of business, comma, there is no normal, period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase resisted the urge to butt in and instead continued to stare, period. Her tactic worked, comma. Well, comma, it was really Stitz's tactic that she was employing, period. Remaining silent and allowing the other person across from you to fill in the emptiness. Grow uncomfortable and in the process fill the emptiness with words, period, new paragraph. It was often these words that were most telling, comma, than the pre-planned speech that she was often confronted with, period, new paragraph, open quote. People grieve in different ways, period. I've seen parents get angry, comma, others get I've seen every manner of response to when we show up at a crime scene, comma, irrespective of the crime, period. Anger, comma, resentment, comma, even giddiness, comma, if you can believe it, period. I don't think there's a normal way to behave when you're dealt some cards that are anything but, period, close quote, in the paragraph. Chase knew that what Tommy was saying was true, comma. She'd experienced the same, period, in the paragraph. People had an normal people, comma, those that weren't involved in FBI, comma, police, comma, or even crime scene cleanup, comma, had a general idea about how someone was supposed to act when they were grieving, period. This often involved tears and the inability to function, period, in the paragraph. But the problem with this assumption was that you could only know how you were going to act after confronted with that situation, period, in the paragraph. Tommy was right, comma. She'd seen people giddy, comma, and while your first instinct was to assume some sort of guilt on their behalf, comma, Chase had quickly learned during her time as a narcotics officer in Seattle to push these preconceptions away, period, in the paragraph, open quote. And how did Mr. and Mrs. Derringer act? Question mark, close quote, in the paragraph. Tommy suddenly leaned forward on his desk, comma, resting his elbows on the wood, period, in the paragraph, open quote. I'm sorry, comma, Chase, comma, but it feels strange to be discussing this private matters with you, period. Don't get me wrong, comma, I want to help, comma, but perhaps you can tell me exactly what you're looking for. question mark, close quote in the paragraph. Chase was having a hard time reading the man, period. Open quote. A cell phone, comma, close quote, she said bluntly, comma, getting right to the point, period, the paragraph. It was obvious to her that Tommy Wilde, comma, much like herself, comma, didn't care for euphemisms or small talk, period, the paragraph. He was a businessman, comma, after all, comma, and he was all business now, period, the paragraph, open quote. Anything that might have been removed from any items that were removed from the Derringer house were put into storage, comma, close quote, he said, period, open quote. We only go in after the NYPD clears the scene and removed any evidence, period. But we do keep things for a number of weeks just to make sure, period, close quote, in the paragraph, open quote. And do you have a list of things that were removed? Removed from the Derringer house, question mark, close quote, in the paragraph. Tommy nodded and turned his attention to a small laptop on his desk, period. He typed away for several seconds and then leaned back, period, to paragraph. Chase tried to open quote. A twin mattress, comma, 2 pillowcases and 2 pillows inside, comma, 1 throw pillow, comma, a section of carpeting roughly 4 feet by 2 feet wide, comma, and he turned his eyes to Chase, period, open quote. No cell phone, period. If we found a cell phone, comma, however, comma, I can assure you that we would have called the NYPD and handed it off to them, period. We only take As for the mattress and pillows, comma, right now it's in our biohazard room storage, period. In 2 weeks, it'll be incinerated as per our SOPs. Open quote. No cell phone, question mark, close quote. Chase asked, period to paragraph. Tommy locked eyes with her and he shook his head, period to paragraph, open quote. No cell phone, period, close quote, in paragraph. The man Chase detected no deception in Tommy, comma, but she decided to push a little bit harder, period. After all, comma, this cell phone, after what Dunbar had discovered about the 4 other girls' cell phones and the fact that their messages were completely wiped, comma, Sky Derringer's cell phone might be the only thing that could lead them to some sort of motive for the girls' actions, period, in the paragraph, open quote. How many men do you have working for you, comma, Tommy? Question mark, close quote, in the paragraph, open quote. Depends on the day, period. I can have up to 35 or even 40 if there are multiple cases, period. close quote, into paragraph, open quote. And how many did you have on the day that you cleaned up Sky Derringer's house? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. It was clear now that Tommy didn't like being interrogated, comma, that even though he didn't play the traditional games of trying to show his power, comma, he still believed that he had some, period, into paragraph. Chase was going to take that away from him, period, into paragraph, open quote. It was a small job, comma, so while I don't have the notes in front of me, comma, I would assume maybe just 2 or 3 people, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. And I'm going to assume, comma, that you weren't one of them, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. I don't often go out to the jobs, period, not anymore, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Maybe I can get a list of the people that were at that job, comma, the Derringer one, comma, I mean, period, close quote, in paragraph. Open quote, you may not, comma, close quote, Tommy said flatly, period, into paragraph. Ah, comma, a little pushback, comma, I see, period. New paragraph, open quote. You mean, comma, not without a warrant? Question mark. Because that's something that I might be able to get, period. You know, comma, this case is of particular interest to the FBI, and while FBI, ... anytime 5 white rich girls commit suicide, comma, the public wants to know about this sort of thing, period. And now, comma, I'm sure that you would like to keep Tommy Wilde's name out of the Wild Cleanup's name out of the M dash close quote in the paragraph. Chase didn't even need to fire 2 shots, comma, Tommy eventually broke, period, in paragraph. It was obvious that even though Tommy was the exclusive cleanup, while cleanup had an exclusive agreement with the NYPD, comma, it was a relationship that Tommy wanted to keep, period, new paragraph, and a boat that he did not want to rock, period, new paragraph, open quote. I'll tell you what, comma, Miss Adams, comma, I'll make a few calls, comma, see if somehow the cell phone managed to be accidentally scooped up with the mattress and pillowcases and carpet swatch, period. Why don't you just leave your number here and I'll be sure to get back to you, period, close quote, in the paragraph. Chase suppressed a small smile as she withdrew, reached into her pocket to withdraw a business card, period, in the paragraph. Only she didn't have any and had to turn to Floyd, period, in the paragraph. Floyd was still looking at Tommy, comma, a dumbfounded expression on his face, comma, and Chase had to prompt him, period, new paragraph, open quote. Floyd, comma, give him a card so he can get back to us after he figures out exactly what might have happened to the cell phone, period, close quote, in paragraph. The man nodded and quickly fumbled for his wallet, period. He pulled out his card and placed it on the desk. And Tommy instinctively immediately picked it up to look at it, period, to paragraph, open quote. I'll be in touch, period, close quote, in paragraph. Chase nodded and rose to her feet, comma, indicating for Floyd to do the same, period, in paragraph, open quote. Yeah, comma, and I guess I don't need to impose on you how important it is that this case gets resolved as quickly as possible, period. I know you're probably a busy guy, comma, Tommy, comma, but it's in your best interest to make this a priority, period, close quote. New paragraph. And there it was, comma, a small scowl appearing on Tommy's face, period, paragraph. And this time, as Chase left the office, comma, she couldn't help the smile that spread on her lips, period. All right. I'll tell you what, guys, I gotta be right back. 1 second. Oh, that's what 3 coffees does to you. All right, guys. So now we have Tommy introduced to Chase. I think I handled that well. I think I handled it well. Like I said, I didn't want Chase. I wanted Chase to be suspicious, but also, you know, Tommy, his whole thing that he's a likable guy, so he can't. She can't hate him too much. Besides, you know, nobody hates Tommy. So now we're gonna press forward again. We're going to do a scene with Dunbar in the morgue where they talk about this strand of hair and why it's so important. And then he's gonna get the cell phone. She's gonna get the cell phone, and we are going to press forward. So I'm just gonna keep going. Just gonna try to catch up on any Twitch comments that are here. Morning, everybody. I guess afternoon now for me. One second here. Man, we had this. Oh, jeez. I gotta sneeze. Hold on. We were house sitting this cat like 2 weeks ago, and still, I didn't realize I was allergic, but evidently I am, and I'm still getting little whiffs of it. Chapter 32, new paragraph. That's weird. Why is it? What happened to the box? Open quote. Do you think he was lying? Question mark, close quote. Floyd asked as Chase Chase shook her head, period, to paragraph, open quote. Nah, comma, he didn't steal a cell phone, period. Maybe one of his employees, comma. That's the best we can hope for, period. Otherwise, comma, Sky Derringer somehow got rid of it before her. Committing suicide, period. Close quote in the paragraph. And if that were the case, comma, they'd be back at square one, period. Square zero, period, in the paragraph. Open quote. The two of them fell into silence, comma, one that persisted all the way back to 62nd Precinct, period, to paragraph. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I don't remember. Does Chase, spoiler, does Chase know that Beckett is not dead? I don't know. I don't think so. I think she still thinks he's dead. I'm going to have to double check that. If any of you Thrillerguns know if Chase is aware of the fact that Beckett is still alive, please type it in the chat. Because I'm going to go with the assumption right here. I'm going to write this next scene. And I'm gonna go with the assumption that she doesn't know that that he's actually alive. I'm not really sure why. Yeah, I don't really know why the dictation box went away for this. I prefer this box so you guys can read. Otherwise, it goes all the way across the screen. Persisted all the way from wild cleanup to the morgue beneath NYU Med, period, paragraph. The second that she pulled into the parking lot, comma, a strange feeling of sadness suddenly came over her, period, paragraph. She hadn't known Dr. Beckett Campbell very well at all, comma, but Drake had, period, paragraph. And Drake had only good things about to say. And Drake had only good things to say about the man, period, paragraph. And Drake had only good things to say about the man, period, paragraph. Sometimes Drake's judgment could be off, comma. But in this case, comma, she figured that he was spot on, period, paragraph. Beckett was an unusual character to say the least, comma, but she got good vibes when she was around him, period, paragraph. And now he was gone, period, paragraph. After parking, comma, Chase made the way through the maze beneath NYU Med, comma, surprised that she still knew the route to the morgue, period, paragraph. When she arrived, the door itself was not labeled, comma, something that was by design to avoid people wandering the halls and coming down here, comma, or the curious or morbid trying to catch a glimpse of a corpse, period, paragraph. Still, comma, she stopped right outside of a plain door and knocked on it. 3 large, heavy raps, period, paragraph. It opened, and she looked inside, and Chase was greeted by a tired-looking Detective Dunbar, period, paragraph, open quote. Any luck with the cell phone? Question mark, close quote. He asked. Period. New paragraph. Chase shook her head and bustled by him and into the room. Period. New paragraph. The morgue had a series of lockers towards the back, ones that she knew were refrigerated and held bodies until the time of autopsy. Period. To her right were 3 gurneys, upon which were 2. Upon 2 of which were the outline of a body covered in a white sheet. Period. New paragraph. On the third lay Sky Derringer. Period. New paragraph. Dunbar said something to her, but Chase was ignored him and walked over to the body. Period. New paragraph. She looked even younger than she did in the pictures, which was paradoxical given the fact that she'd been dead for 48 hours and her skin had started to lose some elasticity and her pallor had gone from what Chase suspected had been rosy to a pallid gray. Period. New paragraph. She lay completely naked with her hands on her sides, at her sides, her palms face up. Period. New paragraph. On each wrist was an incision that went from the base of her palm halfway up her elbow. Period. New paragraph. At first blush, Chase was convinced that this wasn't a cry for help for the girl, as she'd seen many troubled teenagers do in the past. Period. New paragraph. Those who attempted to slit their wrist only to make thin gashes that ran across the arm. Period. New paragraph. Or someone who had taken just enough Advil to make them vomit, but not enough to cause an overdose. Period. New paragraph. Someone who really wanted to take their life did it the way Sky Derringer did. Period. They made one deep, large incision that ran up the length of the arm instead of across it. Period. New paragraph. In this case, Sky had done both wrists. Period. New paragraph. This wasn't a cry for help. Period. New paragraph. This was a dedicated attempt. Period. New paragraph. A successful one. Period. New paragraph. A deep, sudden sadness overcame Chase as she looked down at the body. Period. New paragraph. Even though the woman Sky had long, straight, almost white hair that ran past her shoulders, and she had high cheekbones, whereas Georgina had orange curly hair like her mother and a round cherubic face, That was exactly who Chase saw lying on the gurney, her niece, Georgina Adams. Period. New paragraph. The feeling was so overwhelming that Chase actually had to reach out and brace herself against the gurney. Period. New paragraph. Only she missed, and instead her excuse me. Only she missed, and instead her bare hand landed on the girl's thigh just above the knee. Period. Of paragraph. Chase inhaled sharply, partly because of the cool skin beneath her fingers, and partly because she expected to be instantly transported into Sky Derringer's mind, to become Sky Derringer moments before she committed suicide. Period. Of paragraph. In preparation for this overwhelming and sometimes disorienting sensation, Chase shut her eyes and leaned back. Period. Of paragraph. Nothing happened. Period. Of paragraph. Nothing at all. Period. Of paragraph. She didn't see Sky Derringer lying on her bed, she didn't see the girl grabbing for a razor blade. Period. Of paragraph. She didn't see blood, she didn't see tears, she saw nothing. Period. Of paragraph. And somehow, this realization was more frightened to Chase than any other, period, into paragraph. A hand suddenly came down on her shoulder, comma, and Chase immediately shrugged free and pulled her hand back from Sky's leg, period, into paragraph. Open quote. You okay? Question mark, close quote, in the paragraph, open quote. Fine, comma, close quote. Chase hissed from between clenched teeth, period. She looked away from Floyd and turned to Dunbar, period. For the first time since entering the room, comma, she realized that Dunbar wasn't alone, period, to paragraph. In the morgue. Behind him, comma, was a diminutive figure with large ears and short brown hair tucked up into a bun, period, to paragraph. She was small, even by Chase standards, comma, so much so that Dunbar's large frame nearly blocked her out entirely, period, to paragraph. Open quote. Please don't touch the body, comma, please don't touch the body, period, close quote, the woman said in a high-pitched squeal, period, to paragraph. Chase didn't acknowledge the comment, period, to paragraph, open quote. What's this about the hair, question mark, close quote. To her surprise, comma, her voice was hoarse and dry, period, to paragraph. My voodoo's gone, comma, she thought, period. Voodoo is gone. New paragraph, open quote. My name is Dr. Karen Nordmeyer, and I am the Chief Medical Examiner. Period. You must be Chase Adams, question mark, with the FBI, question mark, close quote, new paragraph. Chase grunted an affirmative, comma, and then stepped away from the gurney and towards a desk that housed a microscope amongst other lab equipment, period, new paragraph, open quote. What is this about the hair, question mark, close quote. Chase repeated, period, new paragraph. Open quote. Here, comma, let me show you, comma, close quote. Dr. Nordmeyer insisted, period. She made her way over to the desk and sat down, comma, pulling herself up close to the microscope that Chase had immediately noticed, period, to paragraph. She looked through the eyepiece for several seconds and adjusted one of the focus knobs, period, to paragraph. Open quote. Here, comma, take a look, comma, close quote. Dr. Nordmeyer instructed, comma, pulling away from the desk, period, to paragraph. Chase leaned in close and stared through the eyepiece, period, to paragraph. She saw a hair, period, to paragraph. Other than that, comma, she had no idea what to interpret, period, to paragraph. Open quote. What am I looking at here? Question mark, close quote, in the paragraph, open quote. This is one of the hairs that was taken from Sky Derringer's head, period. And now this, comma, close quote. Chase remained staring through the eyepiece as the woman switched the slide out and replaced it with another, period, open quote. And this one is from Madison XYZ's head, period, close quote, in the paragraph. Another hair, period, to paragraph. Chase started to become annoyed, period, to paragraph. She didn't understand why people like Karen Nordmeyer felt the need to explain every little detail, comma, to allow her to speak for herself. Make sure that she saw for herself, period, to paragraph. Chase was no hair expert, period, to paragraph. Open quote. Tell me what's going on here, comma, Dunbar, question mark. What the fuck does this have to do with why the girls committed suicide, question mark, close quote, in the paragraph. Out of the corner of her eye, comma, she saw Dr. Nordmeyer cringe at the use of her curse word, period, to paragraph. Man, comma, how much easier would this be if Beckett were around, question mark, new paragraph, open quote. They're the same, period. Close quote. Dunbar offered, period, open quote. They're exactly the same, period, close quote, to paragraph. Chase still didn't know what was going on here, comma, what the importance of these girls having the same hair meant, period, end of paragraph. From what she'd seen in the most recent photograph, they all had blonde hair, comma, but what teenage girl didn't, question mark, new paragraph, open quote. I don't have time for this, period. You tell me what the M dash, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. All of their hair has been dyed. I tested all 5 girls' hair, comma, and they were all dyed the same way, comma, close quote, Dr. Nordmeyer said in her nasally voice, period, new paragraph, open quote. Chase threw up her arms, comma, looking first at Dunbar and then Floyd to get an idea if she was just missing the point here, period, new paragraph. They seemed as dumbfounded as she was, period, new paragraph, open quote. So what, question mark, they all dyed their hair the same way, period. What does this have to do with why they committed suicide, question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. I don't know about that, comma, but I can tell you that they all dyed their hair, comma, to cover up the fact that it had gone white, period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase's eyes bulged, period, new paragraph. Now this, comma, she hadn't suspected, period, new paragraph, open quote. White, question mark. What do you mean, comma, white, question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. Look through the eyepiece, M dash, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. I'm not looking through that fucking eyepiece again, comma. Just tell me what you mean, period. How did these 5 girls, comma, in their late teens have white hair, question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. Another cringe, comma, this time bordering on a visceral recoil at the use of this, the curse, period, new paragraph, open quote. Well, comma, I could tell you that all of their hair was devoid of color, period. Literally, there was no pigmentation in their hair at all, period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase made a face, period, new paragraph, open quote. What does it mean, question mark, close quote, new paragraph. Why would their hair be white, question mark, open quote. Well, comma, I can't be for sure, period. I need to do some additional tests, comma, but M dash, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. Best guess, comma, close quote, Chase said loudly, period, open quote. What is your best guess for why their hair's white, question mark, close quote, new paragraph. This clearly made Karen Dr. Nordmeyer uncomfortable, comma, and she shifted in place, period, new paragraph, open quote. Come on, comma, give you something to go on here, period, close quote. Chase's eyes drifted to Sky Derringer's body, period, open quote. For fuck's sake, comma, why do you think, M dash, close quote, in the paragraph, Dr. Nordmeyer's eyes suddenly shut up and she glared at Chase, period, in the paragraph, open quote. Drugs, comma, close quote, she said flatly, period, open quote. I think their hair lost their pigmentation because they were doing drugs, period, close quote. All right, another chapter in the books. Yeah, so a little tidbit of information there. Oops. Just checking out how many words we've done so far. About 5,000 words deep. So that's a little hint of what's to come. Karen Nordmeyer is going to be right about that. She will, but of course, Chase is going to be pissed because the talk screen already came back, and it came back as negative. I think I'm going to call it there for a bit. I'm just going to grab some quick lunch. I've been on for about an hour, but I'm definitely going to be back. How about I roll back around 2 o'clock? I'll come on 2 o'clock for a couple hours. Like I said, today's going to be a big day. Really want to put some words down. Pretty happy about it so far. Hour 15 minutes in and did about 5,000 words. So we're going to get this story rolling a little bit. You guys enjoy your lunch. I'll be back in about 1 hour. Oh. And for you guys who missed it off the top, dope notepads came in. Really loving these, man. Got a Beckett one and a Chase one. Perfect size. Write your notes in. Lisa, thank you very much for the like. Judy as well. Thanks everyone for joining me. I will be back in 1 hour. I hope to see you there. Cheers, guys.